Hi guys, so welcome to Cricket Caviar yet again. So yeah, let's not waste any time and get on to what Bangladesh did last week. I mean, can this call be the mother of all upsets or something? I mean, this is a Bangladesh team which lost to Scotland in the World Cup, who lost to lost 0-2 to Pakistan at home. They lost a test match in which 2.5 days were washed out, and still they come to New Zealand and they win a test match. They actually take a lead in the first innings. I mean, can I expect India to do this? No. So yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts here, Shikhar? Like, it's
Yeah, man.
amazing what Bangladesh achieved there.
This
Really.
is just. I think. I don't think greater odds before a test match have been upset. So if you see the first day, New Zealand are really comfortable in the win. Uh, like they, it
Yeah,
feels like it's
yeah,
going to
and
be an easy win. So
yeah, the
Kunal,
odds
just a
were
minute.
completely stacked up. Yeah. Like if you look at the numbers, I think New Zealand were undefeated at home for 17 test matches, right? And they won the last six test matches in New Zealand before this test
Uh,
match.
I will add a catch to this, actually, Kunal. This venue, Mount Mangunui, which is the venue, and we discussed it in the last session also with Pratik. This venue is the only venue where actually Asian teams have a chance. Last year, there was a test match with Pakistan, which was played in Mount Mangunui.
Oh,
And
yeah, that too.
Fawad Alam
Yeah,
actually took it to the last day. He scored a century. And he actually almost took the match to the last session, and it was almost a draw. But Mitchell Santner picked up the last wickets with 5 overs remaining. So Mount Mangunui is Achilles heel of New Zealand team. I mean, that is the only venue in New Zealand where Asian teams have a chance, opposition teams have a chance, because it doesn't have the pronounced seam and swing movement which is present in Christchurch or Wellington. So this was the only chance. Now getting into the
yeah,
details. Now this is going to be the Ross Taylor. I mean, he has been a legend. He has played 14 years of international cricket. It is going to be his last Test series, and when first day when it started, New Zealand and Bangladesh test, actually New Zealand were dominating the test match. Devon Conway scored a century, and the odds were
yes.
very high. Like I mean, it was almost impossible for Bangladesh to come back after that first day, in which New Zealand scored some 260 runs with only loss of 4 to 5 wickets. But after
Yeah, I think
that,
five
what
wickets. Yeah.
transpired? I mean, that was just amazing. So yeah, Kunal, what do you have to say about this upset? Like, are you shocked or like? Yeah, everyone is shocked, I guess. But what are your reactions?
Yeah, I mean, it was really shocking, to see, New Zealand on the last day to see the last few wickets of New Zealand fold within, I think, 10 to 15 minutes, and Bangladesh winning by noon was unbelievable.
And
It,
actually,
this,
it started.
I think what worked for this Bangladesh team was there were not many expectations from them, and maybe deep inside, I feel that maybe back-to-back losses in the World Cup and to Pakistan made the team come closer. And if you actually look at the highlights, right, you'll see that team actually played together as a team. So maybe all
Definitely,
that
definitely.
really worked for
And
Bangladesh in this team.
Bangladesh did not have a single, outstanding performance. It was a complete team effort
Yeah,
by the whole
yeah, it was
Bangladesh
a team
team.
effort.
Yeah, and especially, like we have made some points. I'll just go through them. So on the first day when the match started, Devon Conway absolutely brilliant century on the. First of all, I don't think any match should be scheduled on 1st of January. I mean, New Zealand team were hungover. They were literally hungover coming to the match, I felt. But still, they had a great day one and first day of the year. The Taylor was dropped, in fact, on first day, and Ibadot looked very frustrated. In fact, Ibadot was not very effective on the first day. It was Shariful who was
Yes.
picking. So they had an attack of Ibadot, Shariful, and Taskin Ahmed. So this is the lineup
Yeah.
which with New Zealand went, and the spinners Mehdi Hassan Miraj. And obviously, Will Young scored a good 50, and When it came to Bangladesh, and good effort by the Bangladeshi bowlers to get New Zealand out for 325, because normally New Zealand have this very good tail, like Kyle Jamieson, Tim
Yeah,
Southee, and
all
all
of them
these
can bat.
guys. All of them can bat, and they normally bat very well. They extend the
Yes.
score which has been made by the middle order by almost double. They double the score actually, which is made by the middle order. But credit to New Zealand, Bangladesh bowlers, they actually did not allow New Zealand tail to wag. So that I think was the biggest thing here. And obviously, then when it came for Bangladesh to bat, I mean, all four batsmen, which I have mentioned here, so Shanto made 64. Joy, this is Mahmood Joy, who was also part of the winning team of 2020 Under 19 World Cup. He scored a 78. Liton Das and Mominul had a partnership of 186 runs, which was one of the
Yeah,
biggest
it was
partnership.
really,
And
really
sorry,
impressive.
157 runs. 157 runs. Das scoring 86 and Mominul, the captain, scoring 88 runs. And they did all with the absence of Shakib, with the absence of Tamim Iqbal,
So, Tamim
and
Iqbal.
there was no experienced bowler like Mashraf-e Murtaza or any other experienced bowler. Rubel Hussain was not there, and
Yes.
it was an amazing team effort by the youngsters
Yeah,
of New
if you
Bangladesh.
if you look back at the scorecard now, right, you can see the top that four out of the top six players actually scored half centuries. I mean, that does
Yeah.
not happen very often in New Zealand for an Asian team, for a young
Yes.
Asian team. This is absolutely phenomenal what Bangladesh did.
And this new generation of Bangladesh team, what I was studying, only Mushfiqur is 34. He is the only one who is way above 30, like he's 34. And Mominul
Okay.
is, who is the captain, he's 30 now. So, rest everyone is in the early 20s. So, this team is going to be around for a long time. And Bangladesh can achieve new heights with this group of youngsters that they have. There, I would like to specially mention Yasir Ali. Like what happened is every time New Zealand got a breakthrough, it was mainly Wagner. There was another big partnership. So like they broke the Shanto Joy partnership. Then there was a Mominul and Liton Das partnership. And when they broke Mominul and Liton Das partnership, there was a Yasir Ali and Mehdi Hassan partnership, which was 75 runs, and it really
Yes.
gave a lot of pain to New Zealand. I mean, the tail was fighting. So yeah, man, good performance by Yasir Ali also, who has good first class record, but he's not played internationals that much. And Mehdi Hassan also, he's a very good batsman, very good all rounder, in fact. And finally, I want to salute Ibadot Hussain uh, from Bangladesh Air Force. He bowled a brilliant spell at the end of day four,
Yeah.
taking Blundell and Henry Nichols. That was beautiful bowling, and it is one of the best spells of fast bowling I have seen. I've seen, and let me tell you, Kunal, one more fact. Since Ibadot Hussain has taken the wicket of Virat Kohli has not scored a test century. So that is Ibadot Hussain.
Yeah, this guy has major impact. But to be honest, before this match, he was not coming in with very impressive numbers. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
this game actually
Yeah, he
changed.
has been a little up and down, and
Yeah.
he's not very prolific. But I think this is, I think he has learned. Looking at his career, like he started as a volleyball player, and he was in Bangladesh Air Force. After that, he was selected from a talent hunt competition in fast bowling, and now he has been very good. I mean, last Test match he was just absolutely brilliant, and he got good support from Taskin and Shoriful also, especially in the first innings. I feel Shoriful was the most dangerous bowler. But in the second innings, Ibadot 6 for 45. Those are amazing figures, and especially against such a beautiful, brilliant batting lineup, and especially middle order and tail, lower order of New Zealand. That was really great. But
Yeah,
what do you
and
think,
even
Kunal, about?
Taskin Ahmed. Yeah, I mean, what did you say about Taskin Ahmed? He appears to be like a more mature and a much better bowler now than we saw him like 1 or 2 years back. Though he did not get a lot of wickets in this game, but he seemed pretty good overall.
Obviously, they bowled really well in partnerships, and Tashkin has been a little bit more experienced now. He, I think, started
Yeah, now he is.
maybe 4 years back in the Bangladesh team, and now he has had a good experience, and he looks more mature bowler. Even though he doesn't have the experience, he's the leader of the attack in a way now. So he's been great. He was great in this test match, and he picked crucial wickets also. But I want to talk about one thing, Kunal. Like New Zealand did not pick Ajaz Patel for this test match, and we saw
Yeah.
Mehdi Hasan Miraj getting wickets, and Ajaz Patel has just picked a 10-wicket haul in his last match.
Yeah, just
So
after 10 wicket haul.
yeah, so what do
So
you
it
have to?
seems these guys, the New Zealand team, underestimated Bangladesh like anything. And this was a blunder. On this pitch, you needed a spinner like a Jas Patel. I mean, not that the bowling lineup was not looking impressive. I mean, they had Wagner, Bolt,
Hmm.
Jamieson, Saudi, but on this pitch they needed a Jas Patel. Could have made a lot of difference. This is a clear. I mean, clearly, it's like they underestimated Bangladesh big time. I mean,
Yeah,
even
it
from
was
here,
a
I feel it might be difficult. It's, it's almost sure that Bangladesh will not win the last and the next Test match. But yeah,
yeah. And
this
actually,
Test match was
India
something.
played two tests in New Zealand and they lost very badly to New Zealand. And those test matches were at Wellington and Christchurch, which have very good spice in the pitch. They
Scene.
have good swing and seam movement and good bounce also. So the next test match is going to be at Hagley Oval in Christchurch, which are totally different conditions. So yeah, I think there and New Zealand has had they have 21 test matches in SENA countries, which is South Africa, England, New Zealand, and Australia, and they have uh, they have lost 21 test matches, and 15 have been innings defeat. So this is a watershed moment in New Zealand's cricket history. I mean, hats off. And the most beautiful thing I found is Mominul saying that he could not sleep the entire day, even though he did not know that they were going to win this test match. At max, they could have drawn this test match. I felt the day before. I even told you when you came to my house that I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
New Zealand are going to
yeah. The
draw,
match
and
will be drawn. Yeah, I'd
yeah,
already bet
Saudi.
on draw.
Yeah, you had a big bet on, I think, the draw result. So I told you
Yeah, man,
also, I
lost it.
tried to
But yeah,
assure you, but yeah, man, amazing by
yeah,
Bangladesh, amazing stuff.
New
yeah,
Zealand,
Ibadot
New Zealand had a
is a very
17 wins streak at home. I mean, win or
yeah,
draw.
yeah. We spoke about it. I mean, they're unbeaten for 17 matches. Even now in the last game, I'll not be surprised if Bangladesh lose within 3.5 to 4 days. But yeah, this test was something else.
There is something interesting for the second test match. There is full rain prediction for day 4 and day 5. So, Bangladesh might
So
win
it
this.
might be drawn.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness, that's that if Bangladesh can stay alive in Christchurch in a spicy Christchurch pitch for 3 days, that will be a great result, I think. And I think New Zealand will be almost out of the World Test Championship race once the next Test match is drawn, I think.
I mean,
But
yeah, this was an easy series for them. Like they would have expected themselves to win 2-0. So if they get result 0-1, then yeah, that would be a big dent on there.
yeah,
yeah. This is against the WTC champions.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it is
this
a
is
big deal.
against the mighty New Zealand, who are the World Test champions, and
Some people were
it's
asking, is this the biggest upset in Test cricket ever? Like people were like, so
Maybe this is
I
one of the
definitely
biggest
feel so.
upsets. Clearly,
I definitely
it
feel
is.
so. But during the course of Test match, okay, New Zealand dominated the entire Test match. It's not like they were following on, then uh, uh,
how can you say
No,
they
they suddenly.
dominated
but
Bangladesh?
but it was
Bat
yeah.
so much
Bangladesh took a
great.
first innings lead, right? So
Yeah,
like that took 130
Yeah,
runs with yeah. So you cannot say
New
they're
Zealand only
dominating
dominated day
as
one.
such.
Only
no,
dominated day
no.
one.
That's what I'm saying. Like Bangladesh totally dominated this Test match. I mean, sorry, I meant that
Oh,
Bangladesh
Bangladesh,
totally dominated.
lol.
I mean,
Oh.
pre-Test match, we did not expect. After day one, we did not expect New Zealand will hold a grip here, but uh, it felt like Bangladesh are the World Test Championships, not New Zealand. So It felt like
Yeah,
that, the way they dominated the
very
test match.
the way they batted like first game of the tour, they batted like 170, 180 overs. That was unbelievable. Like
A
you
super
also
young
think it's
team.
so hard to resist not to give wickets to these guys, Bolt, Wagner, Jamieson, Saudi, and yeah, like you can't even say that only in New Zealand B was playing or something. Their best four fast bowlers were playing, and Bangladesh
Yeah,
is
yeah,
to
definitely.
win.
I mean, amazing history. And this was full strength New Zealand, except for Ajaz Patel, who I feel should have been there in this match. And and they bowled 3 times with the new ball. Actually, if you see New Zealand bowlers, they had after 80 overs and again after 160 overs, they had 3 new balls. So still they could not get the Bangladeshi batsmen out. So that's huge credit to the Bangladeshi batsmen. Even though it is a flat pitch, it is in New Zealand, and full credit to the Bangladeshi team. And it was a wholehearted team effort, not just a individual contribution, but all the 4 middle order batsmen got 60 above 60 plus scores, and that is how you win a test match. And one outstanding bowler with support from the other
Oh,
bowlers like Shoriful and
yeah.
Tashkin, it was brilliant. So Air Force salute to there was actually a debate like the Air Force salute is done by Ebadot Hussain, and actually the Army salute is done by Sheldon Cottrell. So
Yeah.
so both of them have actually the British British Army and Air Force salutes. So because
Yeah.
both Bangladesh and West Indies were colonies of Britain. So yeah, that is one trivia. Anyway,
Yeah.
guys, we'll move on to the more humiliating side of our show, which is coming up now. So all very congratulations to Bangladesh, and hope they can also upset New Zealand or surprise us again with a draw. So coming to the Joburg test now. So guys, I have a little bit of history to talk about Joburg. Actually, I have gone through the
Disappointing.
footage of all Joburg tests from 2006. 2006-7 was our first win in Joburg, and this pitch is always known for variable bounce, extra pace and bounce. Especially day one is the best time to bat on Joburg, and day 2 and day 3 are the times where you get extra and variable bounce, and again it becomes better on day 4 and 5. So in 2006, actually, Ganguly scored at 50 on day 1, which made India make 250. Day 2, May Srishant and Zair Khan actually bowled out South Africa for 84. So that was
Wow.
the turning point. But what I would say is, again in 2013, we had that epic test match in which AB de Villiers and Faf du Plessis took South Africa to almost the world record chase of 458. There,
Yeah.
Ishant and Mohammad Shami bowled really well on that track. And in 2018, when India avoided the whitewash, that was Bhuvi actually bowled really well along with Bumrah and Shami. So I want to put a question to you. What is your first reaction to this Joburg loss? So what would be your first reaction to this? Then we'll get to the other topics which I have lined up.
For me, it was very unexpected, like disappointing. I was expecting our team to play a lot better. Never having never been lost in Joburg, this was just disappointing, pathetic.
Especially with Quinton de Kock out and South Africa not having any of their major stars except for Dean Elgar, who is a 7 years of experience in Test cricket. This was downright shocking loss. I mean, this was one of the
If you
worst
check our
loss.
previous videos, I said India is definitely going to starting favorites in this series. But I said I think result will be mostly likely 2-1. And when India scored 200 on day 1, I was sure that this is South Africa's game. So I'm still hoping India will bounce back. But the series is wide open now. Anything can happen.
Yeah, and of course, I have a question. Like, do you think that Joburg is a chasing wicket? Because 2006 May, so 2006 May, actually South Africa scored 276. They lost, but but they scored 276 in the fourth innings when chasing 400 runs. Then in the second 2013 test, they almost scored 450 runs. And in the 2018 test also, they got 120. They were 120 for 1 before they collapsed. So do you think this is a chasing wicket, or do you think it's not a chasing wicket?
Maybe this is a pretty even wicket, you know. Okay, you have a good chance whether you're chasing or whether you're not.
No, that's a really good question. Maybe it's a chasing wicket. Yeah. Because
No,
I mean, we are more
but
used to
not.
seeing wickets which deteriorate like in India and Australia, but in some places, like even like New Zealand, I've heard few grounds, they become very easy to bat on day 4 and day 5. And Joburg seems like a similar kind of place where it's actually easier to bat last. I mean, we can't consider 50 overs, but if you remember, this ground also has that highest chase match between Australia and
Yeah.
South Africa. So this
Okay,
is
that's a
definitely,
different thing.
yeah.
But maybe you
No,
cannot call it a chasing wicket because the pitch does not change that much. Maybe this is like a 5-day wicket.
Maybe we can say that batting first is not the only option. You have to think about
And
it.
I wanted to touch upon the effect of the rain also, like 50 overs. Actually, the last time also when India won in 2018, so South Africa, there was a rain, and South Africa were actually 17 for 1 when they started the fourth innings. And then rain came. And after that, South Africa went on to 124 for 1 with Dean Elgar and Hashim Amla batting. And it took 50 overs actually for the ball to dry and the conditions to come into the effect. So I think rain also played a big role here. Actually, the rain which came on the fourth day, we thought it will prove advantageous to India, but actually it proved advantageous to South Africa.
Yeah, seriously did not understand why rain didn't favor us, because in England we've always seen like damp conditions then create havoc for the batsmen. But here in
Yeah.
South Africa, I did not understand why rain didn't
It
favor
was,
them.
yeah. It was slightly odd to see that. Even I mean, it
Because
was pretty unexpected.
here the pitches are
And to see
bouncy.
Ashwin
I
bowling
mean,
after the rain was a bigger surprise. God, but
Yeah,
he,
KL was very bad in captaincy, no doubt about that.
yeah, we'll come to that. I feel that once the rain comes, the ball becomes soft, and these pitches are bouncy. Like if you see Rabada's spell, so he bounced out Indians literally. The way he took Rahane, the way he took Vihari, so he bounced India out of the test match. And the bounce factor doesn't apply to soft ball, so the ball becomes soft and you don't get the bounce. So I think that had a major impact. Also, Mark Wood, who is the bounce bowler. Mark Wood, he won the man of the match last year, last time when the test, in Joburg. So I'll just come to day by day analysis, and you can also give your comments on this. So day 1, we expected India to repeat centurion performance in the first innings, but Pujara and Rahane, they failed badly to Olivier. Olivier bowled a brilliant spell actually on the first day, and there was a brilliant catch by Rassi van der Dusen to get Vihari, who was looking very good, by the way. And it was great from KL Rahul to survive. And it was only because of Ashwin's counter attack that we got to a 200 score actually. Otherwise, we would have otherwise we would not have scored maybe 150 or 160. So what do you think about this day was won by South Africa, like 2 sessions and 1 session shared. What do you think about our first innings effort? Like, do you think we could have scored more, or what are some things that you would like to talk about this day?
we could have done more. I mean, I'm not sure if I should say we missed Kohli, because I mean Kohli has not been scoring runs anyways, but we could have did a lot more. The pitch was not that difficult. Our batting lacked application and could have did a lot more.
Yeah, I remember 5 years ago when we were consistently losing away test matches, everyone was saying that India needs to score 300 in their first innings to be there in the match. So I think over the last 2 years, maybe we have forgotten that batting is not that important because our bowlers are doing so good. If you remember, they did the same thing to Australia. Like no other team has done that to Australia, and Australia, that they were bowling Australia around the score of 200. And that's what happened with us. So after you've only made 202 in the first innings of a test match, I think it's very difficult to come back. You have like 75% chance you've already lost that match.
Exactly. And 2018 also India got all out for 187, but they dismissed South Africa for 194. But in this case, actually, I feel batsmen, okay, we can blame them for the first innings, but this loss is somewhat on the bowlers. Siraj getting injured, and I think we missed Umesh or Ishant on this pitch. Either would have been very helpful on this pitch. Shardul also failed as a batter on day one, and I texted you guys that he really needs to pick up his bowling because he got out of for a duck on day one. So
Yeah, and that was, I think, back-to-back 3 bad innings for Shardul. As like he did well in the second innings of the Test match, but he only batted once well in 4 times this series. So yeah, and again, team management has to be blamed as well. Like if you remember, Bumrah was not in his rhythm in the first Test, and then in this Test we saw Shami was not perfectly fit, and Siraj was like Siraj could not even bowl after some time. So why did they went with the same 3 pacers if they know they were not 100% fit? So yeah, there has to be questions asked because both Ishant and Umesh were like fit and raring to go. They could have picked either one of those.
So let's talk about a controversial moment on day two. Like Rasi van der Dusen was caught behind, and there was a controversy regarding Pant, and Rasi van der Dusen was clearly not happy with the decision. Uh, so I feel that it was not conclusive in any way, whether it was out or not out. And always the camera work is always, it's never clear in this kind of situations because you are giving a 2D image of a 3D, world. So, but there was a lot of after effect of this dismissal. What do you think? What do you guys think? Was Pant correct, or it was umpire's fault, or who should be blamed in such a situation?
I'll say it's the umpire who has to be blamed here. It's his decision.
And Rasi
Yeah.
actually walked off immediately. Like he should have maybe like KL Rahul stayed after his dismissal on day two.
Yeah.
I think Rasi could have stayed and asked the umpires to check actually, but he did not do that.
Yeah. It looked out in
I,
the when it happened. But again,
In the
like
real time, it looked out.
yeah.
yeah, that's the thing, right? In real time, it looked out to RVD and he let it go. I think the umpire should have been more cautious, should have been slightly more careful.
But I still think it was a clear catch. In my opinion, like when we see the side angle of the camera, I think Pant caught it clearly. But clearly, it affected Rasi van Dusen a lot because when Pant came out to bat, he started sledging
Yeah.
Pant a lot. We'll come to that later again. But what do you guys make of Keegan Peterson? He made a 62 run knock on day two to help South Africa,
Yeah.
to a very, actually, he was the reason that South Africa took the lead on in the first innings. And that lead actually proved to be a very important lead, 27 runs. I was thinking that any lead below 50 runs may not be very crucial, but 27-run lead actually proved to be quite handful. So what do you make of Keegan Peterson? He has come into the test recently, and what do you make of him as a batsman?
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I was not expecting him to do much in this game. I was surprised to see him score these many runs, but he looked pretty solid. He looked pretty fluent. He seems
Yeah,
to be a very interesting prospect for South Africa.
we haven't seen him much, but whenever he comes to bat, commentators starts praising him. They say like this boy is very talented and stuff like that. So it's good to see finally that talent, doing something on the field as well on this level. So yeah, I mean South Africa definitely need him to step up along with Rassie van der Dussen to if they want to challenge the big teams. So he can be a good
And
number 3.
other things were like Jansen also got hit on the chest, and we thought the pitch is going to misbehave like it did in 2018 when the match was about to be called off, but both the captains decided to play. And there was Kale and Mayank who got out early after South Africa took a 27-run lead. And it was Pujara who came in and he started hooking and pulling. So Pujara was not
Yeah,
out.
like that was surprising. Yeah, that's not how Pujara plays, right? Seeing Pujara play aggressively like that was so
Actually, he made
refreshing.
a similar kind of innings in Leeds when he was about to be dropped. He
Yeah.
made 91. He made
In
91
England,
and
yeah.
in England, and he was in the same approach. So I think whenever he's about to be dropped, he suddenly starts attacking.
Really
Like,
short. Yeah.
yeah,
And yeah, for Jansen, it was unfortunate because out of 22 players, the guy with the minimum body fat got hit on the chest. So that was unfortunate. And again, like you missed one point there about Shami. Like we say, he's hot and cold. Like this test, Shami was very cold. Like he didn't. Like I can't believe like after having such a great first test match of the tour, like he was so off color. And that's what we worry about Shami. And that's why we doubted when Virat Kohli called him the best three pacers among the best three pacers.
That was a bit too much. That was a really exaggerated statement, I
that
think.
was exaggerated. And Shami is, yeah, he's a very rhythm bowler. I mean, I said this in the World Test Championship final also. He's a rhythm bowler, and whenever he finds his rhythm is great. But whenever he's off rhythm, like he was during this entire Test match, he's getting he's not trying to pitch the ball at the right areas. He's bowling short, trying to create something, or just waiting for something to happen. He doesn't maintain that balance when he's off the rhythm. So that's what I felt about Shami in this test. But
Yeah.
I think more than Shami, Bumrah bowled absolute bullshit in this test match, and we'll come back to that later. So let us take a moment to celebrate Shardul Thakur bowling performance. I mean, without him, we would have lost this test match even more badly. So Shardul is the one who brought us back into the game. And this is just an image to, like, we see him as a partnership breaker. So these are some of the biggest partnerships that he breaks. So you see 37, 72, 60. Whenever there is a partnership going on, the captain will call Shardul Thakur. But one thing I liked about KL's captaincy, I didn't like him much, but one thing that he gave Shardul Thakur one extended run and he kept him bowling. The reason was that Siraj was not able to bowl. That was the reason. So Shardul actually became the third pacer.
Yeah,
So what do you think about Shardul's bowling? Like, we have Cricket Caviar has actually, bagged Shardul to play World Test Championship and England tests also. Especially me, I'm a big advocate of Shardul Thakur. I want him to play a lot of. What do you think about Shardul Thakur's bowling? Just want to give a, for our viewers, a brief idea about Shardul Thakur, the bowler.
No, I think I really love his bowling. In the first test, I saw he was mostly bowling the in swing or the cutter. But in this test match, I saw he was moving the ball both ways, and I was actually surprised by the skill. And I think the same thing happened with the South African batsmen. They probably thought that, in this pitch, Ashwin or Thakur would be easy to bat on, and they didn't see that threat in Thakur, and they had to pay for it.
Yeah, and Shardul Thakur is not a youngster. Though he has not played a lot of matches, he comes in after a lot of experience at domestic circuit. So he is intelligent. He understands the game, and he has the skill, to at least surprise batsmen. So I think he's a very intelligent player.
Yeah, and I
Actually,
really like his bowling action too. Yeah.
And Sanjay Manjrekar actually gave a comment that he's a very intelligent bowler. Actually, in the domestic, like Kunal mentioned, he has a good experience in the domestic circuit playing for Mumbai. So he actually pitches the ball, the place where the probability of batsman making the mistake is very high. So that is what is special about Shardul's bowling. He pitches the ball and he bowls high risk, high reward. Like, it can go for a boundary.
Yeah,
But
like Ajit Agarkar, right? He reminds me of Ajit Agarkar sometimes. Yeah.
yes. Otherwise, it will be a wicket. But what I like him the most is he's different from Bumrah in the sense, whenever he releases the ball, there is always something happening on that ball. Like Bumrah is like a bullet bowler. He bowls a lot of bullets, and yeah, he can be good for some conditions like Australia. But Shardul Thakur is like a pure test bowler. I get a feeling like he challenges your outside edge like no one else. I don't think even Shami beats the batsman often, but he doesn't challenge your outside edge like Shardul does. That's what I feel is the best thing about Shardul Thakur.
Yeah, upon your description, I started thinking Bumrah is like a machine, like the ball machine, just throws it
Yeah,
Yeah,
straight.
he is actually. He is
yeah.
actually sometimes,
He
especially
is
in this test match.
unidimensional sometimes.
Yeah. And hats off to Shardul. This was the best figure by any pacer in South Africa, 7 for 61. And he
Yeah.
never had a 5 for, he had a 4 for 61 in Gabba.
Mhm.
So this is a great moment for us. And I expected this to be a match winning contribution because it allowed South Africa only lead of 27 runs. Coming to day three, very fast moving day. Lot of things actually happened on day three. So when the play started on day three, Pujara and Rahane, I was expecting actually both of them to get out because they have been in such bad form.
Yeah, and that
But
has been
they
the trend. Like they
Anti-climax.
get out very early in the day whenever the new day starts, especially Rahane. Yeah, that has been a
yeah.
trend for a long time.
But Pujara and Rahane actually dominate the first hour, not the first over, the first hour. And actually, Rahane was batting so well in that first hour. He was maybe that was the effect of the heavy roller, which is rolled on the pitch in the first hour.
Yeah,
But he played some beautiful shots in that hour, and he also shielded Pujara. So he shielded Pujara. Pujara only played 14 balls in the first hour, and Rahane was taking most of the strike and scoring heavily also. He in fact surpassed Pujara. Pujara was 35 overnight and Rahane was 11 overnight. So he
yeah,
surpassed Pujara and got to his 50 before Pujara. And it looked very great. Actually, there was a 111 run partnership. Uh, Everyone, all the experts are now praising Pujara and Rahane, and they feel more time should be given to Pujara and Rahane. Of course, we'll go longer into this debate maybe tomorrow. But what do you think of this contribution? Whether it was enough, whether it was not enough, it was good. It was the highest partnership actually of this series. So, what do you have to say about this partnership?
It was not easy at that point of time. South Africa's bowlers were bowling pretty well. Rabada was getting fired up. I think this was a really good innings from both these guys, a really good partnership. It was not easy to bat at that point of time.
no, I'm actually not that
But I
happy. I mean,
mean,
they
on
were
good
a
though.
good partnership. Yes, crucial. At least India did not get humiliated because of this partnership and Shardul Thakur's effort. But again, like Centurion was probably a tougher place to score big runs than this one. So in the end, India did not cross 300 any of the innings. And I would have called this a good partnership if at least one of them would have gotten an 80. Both got out of after just making their 50, which again makes me think like were they just playing to make a 50 and save their asses? So I'm not very convinced still.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I think if they would have played to save their asses, they would have defended a lot. But actually, both of them played at a very high strike rate. That is their approach is something we will come to later. But yeah, good contributions, but not enough. I feel. But I think it is not about the second innings. I think where India lost is the first innings where Rahane scored a duck and he played an absolute terrible shot in the first innings.
I
And
think he was surprised by the bounce, right? That we were talking about an extra bounce. He was.
yeah, in the second innings, he had, I think he got a peach of a delivery by Rabada. And, actually what happened, so Dean Elgar was explaining this in his presentation. So basically what happened, there was an outside edge of Rahane, which dropped between Keegan Peterson and I
Markram,
think it
Markram.
was Markram.
I
And
think
it
Markram was
dropped.
very poor in jumping so late to grab that catch. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
both of
remember.
them were thinking the other will go for it, and none of them went. And after that, there was a drinks break, and India dominated that hour, and there was a drinks break, and that got Rabada really fired because Rabada thought that should have been his wicket. And
Yeah, yeah.
after that, the spell that Rabada bowled on that bouncy pitch, I mean, it was back-bending short pitch stuff, and really brilliant bowling from Rabada. The way he intimidated, and Rahane got an unplayable delivery. Pujara also, I feel, got a very good delivery. I mean, it came back in and it destroyed his front pad. Like Pujara's front pad was absolutely decimated by that delivery. So I think Rabada has looked off color in the entire series.
Yeah,
They
like
have to
first test
depend
match,
on.
Engidi looked so much better than him. And but yeah, this is dangerous news because Rabada is coming back to his own.
Yeah,
It will
Ngidi,
be
even
interesting to see
Olivier.
Kohli versus Rabada.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, even Olivier and Jansen looked better than Rabada in the first two tests, but this innings, second innings of second test, I think Rabada came back well. And the biggest reason, now I'm coming to the biggest reason why I felt India lost this test match. Rishabh Pant, if he would have scored 40 or 50, they're counter-attacking 40 or 50 in that position. He came after a good partnership. If he would have remained there and scored a good 40 or 50, and Rasif and the Dusen was sledging him, and Rishabh Pant told him, "You don't have half the knowledge, otherwise you would have shut up." And the next ball, Rabada bowled a bouncer to Rishabh Pant, and Rishabh Pant after that lost his brain. I mean, this is a brain fade by Rishabh Pant, and he went charging at Rabada, and he got caught behind. Like, this was the most disappointing moment. I expected better from Rishabh Pant because I've seen in his better knocks he actually plays defensive and he has a lot of
Yeah.
patience.
Yeah, we look at Pant as a very mature player now, right? But his innings are not always that mature. His shot selection not always that mature.
I feel like only in Australia I saw him starting his innings slowly and then slowly building it up. Again, he always
Yeah,
gets
but
out to stupid shot. But yeah, I won't
yeah, in
blame Pant
Australia, he
again.
played according to
Game
the
should be
match
equal.
conditions, according to what was required from him. So that's what we expect from him now, I think.
No, I think
He
I
cannot
won't
be
blame
playing
him
like this.
completely. You guys are always thinking that our lower order will help us with the bat and then they will bowl to win us the match. Again, I feel like the top
So
order and middle order did
we
not score
look
enough runs,
at
and
Pant
that's why
as
we
a
lost.
proper
Not because of
batsman.
Pant.
We look at Pant as a proper batsman. He's
But do you,
expected to come and
Pratik,
score
do you know,
runs.
you don't
Guys,
think
try to remember that Hardik Pandya innings of 91 that
Exactly.
he played in last tour. Was that innings not full of shots like this? It was. So these guys plays differently, and I won't blame Pant not a single bit for this defeat. The match was already over after day one, as I said.
so you don't consider Pant as a as a batsman, like as a serious batsman? That's what you're saying.
No, I mean this is the way he plays. Sehwag was a serious batsman, but he would also get out to the worst kind of shots. Sometimes he would not even like pay attention and get run out. So it's just that's the character.
But
That's the risk reward which you have when you include him in the 11. So
but I think Sehwag was very good judger. He had a very good judgment. I mean, which balls to. I mean, Rishabh Pant just got a bouncer and he was getting sledged. He clearly got carried in the moment, I feel. I think when he played those knocks in Australia or in England, he started very carefully. He was taking very calculated risks, and here he just thought he could dominate Rabada because he has played with him in Delhi Capitals. He thought that I can just dominate this guy and remove the fielders from short leg, and especially Rassi Van der Dusen, who was chirping at him. It was
no,
a
I still feel both of your points are more like emotional. Like we have seen Pant saving us in need. This time, why did he save us? I feel like a childish kind of plead from Pant from you guys and not thinking, not looking at his game objectively. Like this is the way he plays. So I'm not at all surprised with this dismissal, and I would not like to blame him because that kind of he has started like that his innings many times. Like it's not always he starts like 6 runs of 30 balls. He sometimes starts this way, and if he gets out early, that's just what it is.
okay, and contrasting to Pant, I would like to give a lot of credit to Hanuma Vihari, who stuck for a long time with the tail and actually tried to play very maturely, unlike Pant. And he supported Shardul Thakur when Shardul Thakur hit a lot of good shots. There was a Calypso Viv Richards style drive, and he tried to play around with the tail and he pushed the total to 266 and got us a lead of 240. But Siraj and tailenders were poor. I mean, I expected more of Bumrah. Bumrah and Jansen were again in a like a street fight kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
Really
that was
poor from our tailenders.
very
Yeah,
aggressive.
I don't expect tailenders to save us every time, but yeah, I expected a bit more, maybe 20, 30 more. I don't know if it would be winning score eventually, but Yeah, I expected a little more from Bumrah and Shami. Now that they played that innings in Lords, I expected them also to contribute a bit.
Yeah, and
So
I
any
remember the square cut that Shardul Thakur played. It was almost like Sehwag square cut. It was amazing. And but yeah, I mean, in the hindsight now, I feel like South Africa would have even chased 350 the way they batted. But yeah, at the same time, you know how if there's a bigger score like 300 to chase it feels different. Like South Africa's approach was like we'll actually come to day 4, so I'll wait. Yeah.
Yeah. So coming to day 4, before that, I want to say that South Africa started just like India, scoring. I have mentioned something as the name on the ball approach. We'll come to that later. But Lord Shardul Thakur again picked up a wicket. Ashwin picked up a wicket of Keegan Peterson, and Shardul got wicket of Markram. And actually, it was after 3 years that a spinner actually picked the wicket in Johannesburg pitch.
Johannesburg.
Yeah, because Shadab Khan was the last in 2019 to
And
take a
those are
wicket
so
there.
weird stats. I get so like it's so shocking, man. Seriously, like we see so many wickets here in India for spinners, and then it's just like so weird. Like in 3 years, that's the first wicket by a spinner, really.
Do you think now there is another debate that has come up, like should Jadeja then play because he's a better batsman than Ashwin? Then in such conditions, if Jadeja is available, should Jadeja play, or you would still like Ashwin to play?
Actually, we have seen our captain actually favors Jadeja when he was fit. In England tour, we saw he did not give a single game to Ashwin. So personally, for me, not always. I mean, Ashwin is also scoring as many runs as Jadeja now. So and he's a better bowler. So I can only play Jadeja when you need that left-hander. But yeah, it's actually hard to pick one. They both are really good, but at the same time, in away conditions, we don't need both of them in the 11. So it's very hard to decide.
So
Yeah,
coming to
I
the
think
day
it's fair to
4,
stick
which is
with
the
Ashwin because he's a good bowler.
yeah
That's it.
Yeah, you want a
yeah
good bowler. Yeah.
he's a great spinner, and when the
Specialist.
conditions favor him, he can be really very troublesome.
And
Day
I'm
4
annoyed
is
with
the
Jadeja's strike rate these days in test matches. I like Ashwin's approach where he plays those 30 runs, 40 ball cameos, while Jadeja like sometimes plays 120 balls and score 50. So he has
uh,
become
yeah, Pratik, that's going to be our next actually topic. We are coming to that discussion. So first, let's talk about day 4. I mean, really poor, I think, from KL Rahul. First, he started with Ashwin. It
yeah.
was still raining. It was still raining and the ball was wet. He started with Ashwin. There was no off stump line. The seam was wet. The ball was soft. There was no off stump line. And we were actually bowling at the pads, just hoping for a ball to take off and waiting for a wicket. And at the same time, we didn't have a short leg. So if a batsman defends and there is a edge, like normally what happens, the batsman, South Africa at the whole time they had a short leg.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I remember that.
we bowled 53% of the deliveries short. So 53% balls were short, and the ball could take off and go to short leg easily, but we did not have a short leg. We had a fine leg.
What was the
We had a
point of
deep
bowling
point.
so many short balls? Yeah. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, and we bowled short. We bowled at the pads, hoping for the pitch to explode. Whereas Dean Elgar and Rassi van der Dusen just kept on clipping on the leg side for boundaries.
Man, I
I
was so
mean,
impressed by South Africa. They were batting over 4 runs and over. Like their approach was totally like fearless, and they knew they wanted to chase this target early. They don't want to go to day 5. And yeah, very sad because so many experts said that India is still likely to win the match. You know, they will come back very strong in the morning. Yeah, it was disappointing. India could only pick 1 wicket on day 4. Yeah.
and I think Rishabh Pant's sledge and Siraj was sledging uselessly. I think Siraj should get a 1 match ban now. And
Yeah, yeah.
obviously,
Siraj was excellent.
Siraj, yeah, Siraj is pathetic with his sledging.
Maybe it's the
Absolutely
first time
pointless,
that he
mindless
wasn't
stuff.
able to contribute in this tour yet, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, trying to contribute through sledging.
This series has seen the resurgence of Temba Bavuma, who I considered
Yeah,
as the
how is
worst.
he scoring so many runs all of a sudden? Oh my God. That's
I think he heard Shikhar's tantrums
yeah, probably. He really
pre-series
hurt
talks
Shikhar.
about Kemba Bavuma. Shikhar called him the worst player to play for South Africa.
And actually, I am not the only one. Even Sean Pollock was surprised. So I'm seeing this Cricket Info interviews, and Sean Pollock is like, "This is the best I have seen Temba Bavuma bat." Temba Bavuma last scored a century in 2016, guys. So he's 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 batted very well in this series. He looks very
Yeah.
organized. Even South Africans are surprised that he has
No,
batted
no, he
really well.
definitely he felt like a liability earlier, but this tour he has really matured and he's playing those great innings. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I have some
Ex-
objectives for Dean Elgar: gutsy, nuggety, determined, rock in the storm, immovable object, and also ugly. He looks very ugly while he plays. But what
No,
a
he's
player, what
better
a
than
clutch.
Rory. He's better than Rory. He doesn't look that
Come on,
ugly.
man. He's one league, two leagues above Rory even. So,
I always told you guys, Algar is a really, really good test batsman. I always
Yeah,
told you
he's
this
a,
maybe.
since a long time.
Yeah,
I
and now I
would
have to
not
believe yeah, he's a good player.
I would not expect any Fab 4 or Fab 5 or Fab 6 list without Dean Elgar, guys. So, and the next thing I want to ask was that Virat Kohli missed. Like, was his energy or his captaincy missed? What do you think about that?
Yes, his captaincy as energy were missed. At least in Test cricket, he is a pretty good captain. And
Yeah,
KL Rahul sucked, so
yeah.
we missed
Captain.
Virat Kohli, the captain. The batsman, we've been missing the Virat Kohli batsman since some time now, but yeah, we missed the captain real big
Yeah, we
time.
missed the captain, yelling from the slips, trying to motivate the bowlers. He looked miserable sitting in the and watching the game from the pavilion. Hopefully, Kohli is also fired up for the next match, and hopefully he takes it as a responsibility to make sure India wins this series. Because again, guys, like we said pre-series, this is a great opportunity for us, and we have to win this series in South Africa. So
At least I feel that Rahane is very good tactical captain, and I don't know why they are still playing him, right? And why they demoted him to vice captain, I don't know. Maybe because he's fighting for a place, but I still feel that he could have captained. He has not lost a single test match as captain, and he fought well in New Zealand versus New Zealand. Also, he took it to last wicket, which survived. So I feel